Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. His season 3 premiere is coming up on March the 14th. His podcast is called On the Line With. I am joined by the host and founder of said podcast, Jordan Hanley. Jordan, welcome to the show. Great to see you again
Thank
after
you.
all these years. Let's talk about this podcast. Tell me where the inspiration came.
Well, as you know, I used to be a hip hop artist. I did a performance once or twice on Rogers Daytime, but after stopping that for about a decade, I was looking for inspiration, and I noticed that there was, with COVID going on at the time when I first started it last March, there was a lot of mental health within my friends that I was seeing, and family, and just peers and colleagues in general, just around the world in general.
Mhm. Yeah, and you decided that you'd do artists and artists that are facing their own mental health issues. Why artists in particular, Jordan?
Well, being an artist myself, I took inspiration from that, and I figured a lot of artists that I know aren't frequently speaking about it, and I didn't know if it was because they felt that it was because they didn't want to be heard because of what type of art they were making, or just uh, afraid to speak on it in general. And I found that bringing this type of podcast out to artists and artists I know and artists I've met, that it's helped them actually speak about the issues they've been dealing with, or their diagnosis that they've been diagnosed with.
Yeah, and Jordan, you've been very honest and, of course, authentic about your own diagnosis. Tell everybody at home about your own story, your own diagnosis.
So, several years ago, it's going probably about 5, maybe 6 years now, I was diagnosed bipolar. So, living with that and learning about it and dealing with it, it's a struggle in its own. And I felt being honest and open and authentic about it up front with my guests gives them kind of a feeling that there's someone that they could relate to, not just people listening, but the person actually talking to. So I felt like being open about it helped with me dealing with my diagnosis, but also was helping the guests that I had on the show.
Yeah, and you've also said that it's affected the show both positively and negatively. You just mentioned, talked, of course, about the positive. How has it affected the show negatively?
Uh, Negatively, it's more personal. Personally, how it deals with the show is with the lows that come from the bipolar. I'm awfully often, sorry, not motivated, and I'm trying to push myself out of it. So oftentimes it holds me back from uh, doing what I want to do. But I've started
Right.
working on it slowly but surely. But that's the only negative from it. It's not so much the guests or anything surrounding the show. It's more personally that it's affecting me negatively than it is the show. But if it's
Sure.
affecting me, I feel like it's affecting the show.
Right. What are the types of stories you're hearing from your guests?
So they're quite detailed. They're very open and vulnerable. Their stories, I wasn't expecting them to be as honest and as vulnerable as they've been. They've been very open about the struggles they faced, whether it was their own attempts on their life, or family that have unfortunately passed on due to suicide, their own mental health and illness, and how that's affected them and their family and their friends, and their art in is in it as well.
I mentioned the season 3 premiere is coming up on March the 14th. Where can people find your podcast?
So on the 14th of March, season 3 will premiere, featuring Junk. He's a hip hop artist from Vancouver, and they could find it on anchor.com/on the line with, or on Spotify under the same name.
Excellent. Jordan, thanks so much for joining us. So great to see you after all these years. Can't wait for season 3. Looking forward to it. Thank you at home, by the way, for watching. Really appreciate you tuning in. If you have any ideas for us, visit the website, rogerstv.com.